You know that saying, revenge is a dish best served cold? Well, the stories we're getting into today are served so hot, they're practically radioactive. We're not talking about petty pranks here. We're talking about life-altering, career-destroying, and sometimes even life-ending acts of vengeance that are just wild.
Yeah, this quote from our source material really says it all. We're blowing past just getting even and launching straight into the territory of total annihilation. It sets the stage for a level of payback that's almost hard to wrap your head around.
And that's the big question, isn't it? What's the breaking point? Is it just a sudden snap? Or is it more of a long, slow burn of resentment that finally explodes? We're going to look at what pushes everyday people to cook up these calculated, devastating plots.
So let's dive in and dissect these incredible tales. We're going to break down the methods, the motivations, and of course, the catastrophic results of what happens when someone decides to go fully nuclear.
All right, let's start with revenge that's more about humiliation and, psychological warfare. These plots are elaborate, they're pretty disgusting, and they are designed to send a very, very clear message.
Okay, so get this. The setup is simple, but it'll make your blood boil. A parent asks their neighbor, politely by the way, to maybe not park their car where the exhaust is pouring right into their kid's window and making them sick. And the neighbor's response? That one sentence, "I don't care about the kid." Well, that was the spark that lit the fuse.
And this was the result. This isn't just a prank. It's like biological warfare on a budget. The genius, or evil genius here, is in the details. Each step is just designed to maximize the horror. Letting it bake in the sun, putting it in the vents on a hot day. It created a smell so unbelievably bad that the driver ended up throwing his car seats into a dumpster in front of 30 of his neighbors who are all laughing. Ouch.
Here's another trigger for you. Pure entitlement. The staff is tired, they're cleaning up, the restaurant is closed. And this group of guys barges in, not just asking, but screaming at a young employee, demanding food. They even pull the whole customer is always right card, even when they're, completely and totally wrong. So, they got their pizza. Oh, they for sure got their pizza. But it came with some, special toppings. The entire staff collaborated on this monstrosity. And the worst part? The guys ate it all with big smiles on their faces, totally clueless. It's a brutal, disgusting reminder. Never, ever be rude to the people handling your food. Okay, so we're moving on from creative cruelty into the realm of calculated destruction. The revenge in this next section isn't about a bad smell or a ruined dinner. This is about destroying livelihoods, careers, and financial futures. The consequences here, they're permanent. The crime here is just pure greed and exploitation. A boss isn't just overworking his employee, he's literally stealing her tax money. He's committing fraud, making it look like she's the one not paying her taxes, all while that cash is sitting in his account. He really, really picked the wrong person to mess with. And what she does next is just a masterclass in methodical takedown. It wasn't just one move, it was a series of precise, devastating strikes. She doesn't just report him to the IRS. No, she then immediately calls every single one of his business partners to let them know a federal investigation is coming. A year later, his business was a ghost town. The lesson here, don't screw with your employees, and for the love of God, don't screw with the IRS.
Now this next story is an absolute marathon of revenge. It's all about patience. Can you imagine finding out your wife is cheating on you and then pretending like nothing is wrong for 9 whole months, all while you're meticulously planning your payback? The long game is what makes this so incredibly chilling.
And here is the jaw-dropping reveal. He literally creates an entire fake reality of his own self-destruction. He makes her believe he has this horrible gambling problem and has lost everything. So when she finally files for divorce, she thinks there's nothing left to take. But in reality, he had orchestrated her complete financial ruin, making sure she walked away with literally nothing but some pots and pans. He called it the cheater tax. This text message was like a bomb that detonated 2 lives and 2 careers in an instant. But here's the most twisted part. The person who supposedly sent it didn't. The vengeful husband sent it from the cheating professor's phone to his own wife. This is where the weapon becomes pure psychological torment. And the fallout was absolute. See, the husband didn't just want a divorce. He wanted total victory. That fake text led to a huge public scene that got the professor fired and blacklisted. Then the husband deleted his wife's entire PhD thesis. Years of work just gone. In the end, as you can see, their careers were toast, reduced to zero, while he walked away with basically everything.
All right, take a deep breath because we are now entering the final and most intense level of revenge. The stakes in these last stories aren't just about money or a job. They are, quite literally, about life and death.
The backstory on this one is just gut-wrenching. A guy named Ryan spends his whole life being bullied by his twin brother, Sebastian. Then, when Ryan comes out as bisexual, that same brother convinces their parents to kick him out onto the street. So 10 years go by, Ryan builds a new, happy life for himself. And then he gets the call. Sebastian is dying, and Ryan is the only match for a kidney transplant.
I mean, what do you do? This is the ultimate moral crossroads, right? Forgiveness versus vengeance. Do you save the person who broke you? The family that threw you away now comes to you? Not because they love you, but because they need a part of you to survive. What do you say?
He just said no. He looked them in the eye, reminded them of every single cruel thing they did to him, and said they didn't want any part of him back then, so they couldn't have a part of him now. Then he just turned around and walked out of their lives forever. The sheer power in that single word is just devastating.
So we go from a quiet, devastating no to a very, very loud yes. This is Maria Octavia Rieska. When German forces killed her husband in World War II, she didn't just grieve. She took all that rage and pain and channeled it into one singular, astonishing purpose. She sold everything she had to buy her own personal weapon of revenge. And this is where the story goes from tragic to absolutely legendary. She doesn't just donate the tank, oh no. She writes a letter to Joseph Stalin himself demanding permission to drive it into battle. And the name she gives it, Fighting Girlfriend, is just this haunting, incredible mix of love and pure, unfiltered fury. So how does she do? Well, this number, 50 plus, that's how many enemy soldiers she killed or wounded in her very first battle. She wasn't just some propaganda piece. She was a brutally effective soldier, fueled by this intense need for vengeance that she unleashed on the battlefield until she was eventually killed in action herself. Okay, so after all of that, from poisoned pizza to vengeful tanks, we're left with one final, unavoidable question that just kind of hangs over all of these stories. I mean, really think about it. Was it justice? Or was it madness? When does that justified anger curdle into something much darker? Is there a point where the person seeking revenge actually becomes worse than the one who wronged them in the first place? That's the question we'll leave you with. Where do you draw the line?